Hi, this is Chris from the Stephanie Miller Show. Please enjoy this exclusive clip from Political Voices Network.
You know what? Don't bother me with. I'm a big picture person. The details of his imprisonment, the Secret Service. Whatever. You and Allison have talked about that, right? She mentioned on our show about that during Watergate they were kept at military prisons.
They were. There's no reason why they can't do that. There's also no reason why they can't build a little wing on something. He doesn't need that much space.
Right.
Well, depending on what his mugshot says.
He needs at least as much space as William Howard Taft. We'll get the weigh-in shortly. Isn't it exciting? It's like a big boxing match. We're waiting for the weigh-in. Okay. Isn't it kind of satisfying that every single one of his lies are going to be eventually blown to smithereens, like the lie about his weight?
I sure hope so. We don't have time for that. Are you kidding? They counted like 4,000 lies in a 1 hour speech or something insane. So yes. I don't think those are ever going to catch up to him, but at least there's some consequences. It is a beautiful thing. He's never going to have another peaceful day for the rest of his life. He will be embarrassed. And the other thing is, though, I don't know if he's so insane that he doesn't even care, doesn't know, or doesn't feel it. If he's a sociopath, he doesn't give a crap about any of this.
It's still just a reality show to him. Like people were talking about how big his motorcade is. Like it's just a show to him still.
He's convinced himself he is right.
Yeah. By the way, in Handmaid's Tale news today, a federal appeals court upheld portions of a ruling that limit access to the widely used abortion pill mifepristone. Doesn't it just feel like, just don't worry, us judges decide what you little ladies can have and when. I mean, you knew this was going to be the next front, right? Because is it 54% of abortions are medication abortions? Because when Roe fell, we were like, okay, how are they going to get around? Because this is not when, back when 40 years ago, now we have medication. And sure enough, they're finding a way, the small government party, to tell you, what else you can do with your body, right?
They're also finding a way to keep it out of the hands of what they're doing with everything else. People that live in areas that they may not have a pharmacy within walking distance. They may not have a pharmacy close to them. You can still go pick them up. You just can't get them over mail. They know exactly who they're targeting by not allowing this to happen.
And you have to have a prescription again. You can't. It's a whole new way, because before you can do it virtually. Now you have to actually go see your doctor.
Exactly, and not everyone can do that.
Right.
Breeder lady has to chime in. Because the two Leses are like, I don't know, birth control.
I don't use that anymore either, because it's all gone.
Is it all? Hang on.
Yeah.
Tumbleweeds. Okay. Okay. Not our specialty, any of us in this room. Right. Birth control.
Not anymore.
All right. Speaking of medical experts push back against Texas lawmakers' assertion that puberty blockers and hormone therapies are experimental and put young transgender patients at risk, as they testified Tuesday in a hearing that seeks to block a new law banning such medical treatment for kids. One doctor who treats adolescents and has been providing gender-affirming care for 17 years said the body of medical research demonstrates these treatments have a high success rate in improving mental health outcomes of trans youth. She said, recently I had one of my patients tell me, if you had not allowed me and helped me and shepherd me through these interventions, I don't think I would be here. She added hundreds of her patients have expressed the same sentiment in her nearly 2 decades treating patients. Texas families and doctors are suing the state to block Senate Bill 14 from going into effect September 1st. The new law would ban transgender youth from taking puberty blockers, receiving hormone therapies, and having surgery, the latter of which is rarely performed on minors. But here we go again with the small government party, right? And they
absolutely. And you also have this thing that the Republicans are doing, saying if trans women want to participate in sports, they need to go through transition earlier. They can't go when they're a teenager. And now you're saying you can't go to transition earlier. We're not giving you the medication to do that. They're trying to block it in any way they can. And there are articles, scientific articles, the Medical Association articles, that if a trans child goes through puberty, it creates so many more problems for them. 80%, I think, have had suicidal thoughts. 80% of trans people. That's a horrifying number.
Yeah.
All of this is just infuriating. It's also unconstitutional. It's going to get blocked. But in the meantime, all of these trans people and kids are hearing these legislatures debate their existence and whether or not they should have health care. It's damaging one way or the other. It has to stop.
We had this whole conversation with Dr. Redlener earlier, because it's on every front, whether it's COVID or this subject, just this anti-medicine, anti-science just that has sprung up in the right wing. I mean, he was warning us again. New COVID hospitalizations have accelerated for a fourth straight week, according to the CDC. A total of 10,320 patients were newly hospitalized with COVID to the week ending August 5th. We were all saying, Dana, just all of us anecdotally know people, that friends, family, loved ones that have gotten COVID or gotten COVID for the first time. Hospitals across the Southeast are continuing to report the nation's highest rate of COVID admissions. Alabama, Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, Mississippi, North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee has been reporting the highest rate of COVID cases, by the way, even among nursing home residents. I mean, thank God my mom didn't die of COVID. My mom, was 100, but she got COVID.
I'm very glad that was the case. Yeah.
She got COVID and survived it. But but also, what are all those states? Once again, here we are, the red states, right?
And there's been plenty of articles talking about how they're losing more of their voters. I don't know why they're not doing anything to protect their citizens. They're actually losing, I think it was like, I don't know if the number was 1 million, but because that seems awfully high for the deaths, but it was drastically higher that Republicans lost their lives because of all of these anti-vax states and these anti-vax stances in these I don't want to call them red states because they're voter suppressed states. I don't know why they don't realize they're losing their base.
Thank you. And more in Science Stack real quick before we get off this subject is just, it's not just COVID, Dana, it's whatever's next. This dumbassery, it feels like it's going to be with us forever. Right?
Yeah, unfortunately.
COVID-19, not the only virus that has significantly impacted the planet in the past few years. Avian flu, Jesus,
again,
has devastated the poultry industry and caused a 70% increase in egg prices in the last year, has impacted more than just domesticated species. New research indicates that the flu, which has killed hundreds of thousands of wild birds, is one of the most devastating disease outbreaks in history. Vox reported the disease has spread across 5 continents, hundreds of species, including endangered ones like the California condor. It's what is it called? A panzootic. It's a pandemic among animals right now. Avian flu typically causes death only among domesticated birds, killing up to 90% of the flock with an outbreak. This time it's different, though. What we're seeing right now is uncharted territory, said a wildlife geneticist. The biology of the virus has caused it to attack wild species and even mammals. It's causing a high amount of mortality in a huge breadth of wild birds, which is not something that has been seen before. Right, so because just like COVID, it's the avian flu virus has adapted to spread disease. But I just feel like Trump, this is the gift that we'll keep on giving forever, this anti-science, anti-medicine dumbassery that no matter what happens, they're going to call it a hoax, right?
Absolutely, and it trickles into the climate change, the fight on climate and climate control. It just does. And so at this point, I'm like, you know what? Have as much sex as you can. Drink what you want to drink. Go on vacation. Yep. We don't know when the planet's going to end. Live your life. Make sure you vote. Like, that's, if you can donate to a cause, recycle. But, like, do your part. But at this point, like, I'm like, what do we do other than vote them out of office?
Yeah. There it is, my first drink of the day, Z-Biotics Pre-Alcohol Probiotic. Many of you know my story. I stopped drinking wine for 3 years during COVID, during the lockdown as part of a health reset. Now I drink wine in moderation, but this is an amazing new product. I've always believed in probiotics. And Z-Biotics, check this out. You drink just one of these. It's the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. I am using this and I feel great in the morning. I don't have to worry if I have an extra glass of wine, I still feel great in the morning. Here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. I've always had acid reflux problems. It is this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next day. Z-Biotics produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. All I know is it works. It is Z-Biotics Pre-Alcohol Probiotic. Go to zbiotics.com/politicalvoices or scan the QR code on the screen right now.